What's going on, everyone? This is Dr. T.O. here. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make the graphs for Lab 1, the Microevolution lab. Make sure you go and watch the YouTube videos to collect the data you need to make the graph for the second part of that lab. But I'm going to show you how to make the bar graph that you need in Excel, as well as just if you were going to draw the graph. Sorry that this video is too late. I had a pretty long day. And you may hear my dog barking in the background, so please just excuse that. First, I'll show you just basically if you wanted to draw the graph and then submit the drawing with your lab manual, I'll show you how to do that. And I'll just create the data for that one, but I'll show you how to draw this graph first. So let me share my screen. I'm gonna pull up my whiteboard. Actually, it's a real basic graph that we're looking for. So you should see the whiteboard here. I'm on the wrong thing. Let's get hold on one second. Microsoft whiteboard is what I'm looking for. All right, so you should be seeing my screen here. So in this particular graph, you just want a bar graph that's going to compare the before population to the after population. All right, so it's a real simple graph that you're looking to make. And I'm not the best at drawing, but I'll show you, right? And we're just gonna put some tick marks. So let's say this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And you always want to label your axes. So we'll call this one is gonna be population size. All right, and then down here, we're gonna have the different generations that we experience. Generation 1, generation 2, and generation 3. And all you want to do is put a before and after bar of each of the different colors. So the first one, right? The first one was orange. Do I have orange here? Let's see. So we'll just use, here we go. So the first population was orange, right? So let's say this would be the before. So we'll color the before in squiggly. All right. So let's say it started at 4. And then after the event happened, that population went down to 3. And then you'll just put the after on side of it. Right. And then we had blue for generation 1. That's the before. So we'll fill it in. You need to make sure the before is different than the after. And then let's say afterwards, it still had 4 in that population. All right. And that would be the after. And then we also had, I'm gonna actually make this a little bit bigger so we can have all of them on the same thing. We had green before. It started at 4. Let's say it started at 4. Make sure you watch the video so you know how much the data set was. And then the after was 1 here. All right. And then we also had a yellow. So we'll use the rainbow as yellow since we don't have a yellow. We'll start that one at 4. This is all for generation 1. All right. I'm gonna extend this bar so we could see, and let's say that after went there. Remember, we got to distinguish between before and after. But let's say that was generation 1. I'm gonna erase. I'm gonna erase this 2, and I'm gonna erase that 3. And we're gonna extend this line out more so you can see how it should be for all of them. We'll extend the x-axis, and we'll put the second generation here. And we would do the same thing for the second generation data. We would go, let's say the second generation orange started out at 6. You would color it in, right, to indicate the before. And then the after the bottleneck, the orange went to 1. All right. Blue started off at 3, let's say in the second generation. I'm just making this up for the sake of you seeing how the graph should look. All right. And after, there was still 3 in that population. Green. Before. After. And then we'll do the rainbow again. Before. And then whatever it was on the after. All right. And then you would also do this for the third generation as well. I'm not going to repeat it for the sake of time, but what you get to see, what the graph should look like. You should have for each generation, for each of the different color of the M&Ms that we showed in the video, you should have a before and after for each generation. So there's a before and after for the orange in generation 1, a before and after for the orange in generation 2. If we did generation 3, you would have seen it there, right? Same thing goes for the blue, the green, and the yellow in the rest of the population. There'll be a before and after for each of the generations, all right? Make sure you label your axes. It's important to do that so we know what we're looking at. And then you would probably want to also have a legend. So I know what these things are. So you would have a legend that would look something like this, where it would have like the green bar filled in and it would say before on side of it. And then you would have an empty one that says after. And you would do that for each of the colors, so we know which one is which. It's important that you are labeling them correctly. All right. So this is kind of how you would just make the graph, simple bar graph. If you want to draw it out, you could draw it out. Make sure you distinguish between the before and after generation. Not the before and after, before the event and then after the event. For each generation, you would have to have a bar for each of those. All right. Very simple if you want to draw it. But now I'm gonna also show you what you would do if you wanted to do this in Excel. Stop the share here. I'm going to share my Excel screen and I'll show you how to build this graph in Excel. All right, so I already put together a data set, all right? And in your data set, you should have each of the generations, a before and after for each of the different colors. All right. So now to actually produce the graph, all we would do is we would capture highlight the first colored M&M, highlight the before, we go to insert. All right. And then we would grab, you would go to select data. So I right click, select data. We want to add a new series. We don't have to name it just yet. We'll come back in just a second and do that. And then we'll grab the after. And it'll put them next to each other. Now what we need to do is color code them, right? Because these are both from the orange. So I'm going to use the orange color and we'll let that color kind of do the naming for us. So if you just click on one of the befores, it'll highlight them all, as you can see there. Go to solid fill. I'm going to color this one orange because that's the orange population. And then the after, what I would do, click on the after, and then we'll do something like a pattern fill. That way we can delineate the before and after. All right. So that is for the orange population. Now to add the green, you click on the chart, right click, select data. We're going to add a series. You don't have to name it because we're going to use the colors. We're going to grab the before numbers. Hit OK. We're going to add another series. And we're going to grab the after numbers. So we'll just highlight them. All right, we'll hit OK. Now, since this was the green population, or the green individuals rather, I'm going to click on the first one that represents the green. I'm going to change the color to green. Right, and then I'm going to click on the second one. Change the color to green as well to correspond with the M&M, and then we'll do pattern fill again. We'll keep kind of that same pattern so we can see the before and after. All right, we'll do the same for the blue. So once again, click on the chart, right click, select data, add series. Don't worry about naming it because we're going to let the colors do that for us. Going to grab the before, hit OK, add series, grab the after, hit OK, hit OK again, then we're going to color them, right? Make sure they're the proper color. So we'll use that blue. And then we're going to change this one to blue as well, and then pattern fill so we could see the after. All right. You'll add the yellow, right click, select data, add series, insert the before. Okay, add series, series value, insert the after. We'll hit OK, and then we're going to color code those. Those should be yellow. Here we go. And then we'll click the after, make it yellow as well. Pattern fill. That way it looks different. All right, and that yellow is hard to see. But we also still need to label the axes. So if you click on the graph, you hit this plus sign, and we want to put axis title. So check that. Remember, the y-axis is population size. And you can make this bigger if you like, so it's easy to read. And then the x-axis is generation. Make that bigger so you can read it. All right, remember, we want to add a legend so we know what we're looking at. Actually, let's do this. We need to name the series. So go back to select data. We're going to hit edit. For series 1, we'll hit before. For series 2, hit edit. Select after. And we'll just go down the line like that. Before. After. Series 5, edit. Before. Series 6, edit. After. Series 7, edit. Before. And series 7, edit. After. So now that everything's named, we can put an appropriate legend. So we'll click on the graph again, hit the plus sign, and we're gonna do legend. And now you see the legend appears to the right. You can actually change where you want to put it, but it gives you the before and after with each color, so we know what we're looking at. I don't really like grid lines on the graph. You don't really need them. But now we have the before and after for each of the different M&Ms that we tested in the bottleneck study. All right, and you could compare the different colors to each other for each generation if you like. You could compare the generations against each other, and you could compare the before and after of each color to each other like this. And what you'll probably see as we go through the bottleneck effect is that the effect of the genetic drift is going to be completely random. So you'll see these kind of up and down swings because it doesn't matter about any, the evolution of the group is it's not dependent on any feature of the organism. It's just random changes in the genes. That's what happens with genetic drift, and that's what you'll see. But this is two simple ways to create the graph. You can either draw it or you could put it together in Excel. If you need additional help, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you with it. But what's key with the graphs is that you always label your axes. You have a legend so we know what we're looking at. And then you have a way to delineate between the different pieces of data that you're looking at. And if you can do those things, you'll put together a really good graph for this assignment, and then you'll continue to make good graphs for the rest of the time you're in the class. All right. So check this video out. If you got any questions, please shoot me an email, and I'll help you with what you need. But that was the two simple ways to create those graphs. All right. Good luck to you, and continue to work hard. Have a good one. Peace.